Hey guys, Queenie Bee here. I'm going to tell you how I built the structure of the living room, and I'll do some other part videos. So like part 2, part 3, part 4 on how to do the couch and the ottoman or how to do the curtains. So that way we can focus on all of it. Okay, so the very first thing I did was take a trifold, which is like the cardboard you use for the science fair, something along those lines. I cut that down, and before I go any further, I'd like to say everything I used to build this is from the Dollar Tree. So if you're wondering how to find the materials or how to source them on a cheaper budget, Dollar Tree has everything you need to make this room in front of you. Okay, so I cut the trifold to 24.5 inches going back, and then going across, it's 25 inches. I covered it in contact paper, which was a really old contact paper I've had for a long time, and it was kind of beat up. So it's starting to lift in some spots. It's got some creases, but the marbling really does help hide that. So after I did that, covered it with the contact paper, I took my black piece of foam board that I used for this back wall back here, and I cut that 24 inches across wide, 24 inches wide, and 20 inches tall. Before I put the wall up, I cut the windows out. You need to do that first because cutting it when it's standing is pretty much impossible to get right. Okay, so I measured 4 inches from the top of the wall down all the way across. And that's how I decided where the windows were going to start. There's 11 inches in between the two windows. That gave me an inch between the edge of the wall and an inch between the next wall. So that was how I spaced them evenly. The windows themselves, 10 inches tall by 4 inches wide. Once I cut those out, save the piece of foam that comes out of the middle. After that, we're going to take those pieces that came out of the middle, and I cut 1 inch thick trim pieces. Now the trim pieces are here and they're back here, so you can't necessarily see them very much, but they mattered. Now my only suggestion would be the top and the bottom pieces that are smaller. I would have cut them at 1/2 inch. Okay, so as I said, I would have cut the trim piece for the top about 1/2 inch as opposed to an inch. But then I covered all those trim pieces in a gold vinyl, and that's where you see at the bottom of the window. I covered all of them in that. And then I glued them to the board. And then I flipped it over. I attached clear acrylic plastic behind each window. I got it from packaging from Toys. And then I cut 1/4 inch foam strips to create the separation in the window to make it look like 6 pane windows as opposed to 2 really large pane windows. Glued everything on, and then I took the back wall and I actually glued that to the floor at the bottom. So for the next part of the structure, it would be this white wall over here. Now this is Dollar Tree foam board that I've had for a while, so it's kind of flimsy and curved a little bit. So try to ignore that piece. I cut it at 23.25 inch wide by 20 inches tall. So they're both 20 inches tall, but the sides were a little different. So that's why the widths are a little different. And instead of attaching this wall right here, the white one, with glue, I went ahead and used duct tape on the bottom and the corner. So that way this room can be changed out eventually. I can always take this wall down for easier storage or a better remodel. It's just however we want to do it. And that is how I built the structure of the living room. So That is it. Floor, 2 walls, 2 windows. All right. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for part 2.